What is the PET exam? The PET exam, as you probably all know, is the preliminary English test. Its level is B1, an intermediate level. It's about 2/3 of the way towards the first certificate. So students know once they have the PET exam, there's a third left to go. And what is the exam like? There are 3 papers. Paper 1 is the reading and writing. Paper 2 is the listening. And paper 3 is the speaking. So very similar to the first certificate. So as I said, this is the PET exam. What's PET for schools then? So both exams have the same format. They both have how many papers? 3 papers. And they both have the same task types. So if in PET you're asked to read and link people with information, in PET for schools you're also asked to do the same thing. So what does that mean? So a student coming out of either the PET exam or the PET for schools exam has the same level. The same level of the exam is tested. So it looks like they're exactly the same. So what is the difference? Well, it's the same format, the same level. What do you imagine the difference is? Okay, so whereas the first certificate, whereas the PET is recommended for students over the age of 14, this exam is now bringing it down. And I'm interested to see that they're actually targeting students from the age of 11, which is quite young. Yeah. So the content and treatment is different. But what does that mean? Okay. What I'm going to show you now is a question from a PET exam. What I want you to think is it PET or is it PET for schools? This is from the reading part 2 exam. Difficult one. Any volunteers? PET or PET for schools? Absolutely. This is a very obvious question, but there are 2 words that tell me it's PET for schools. Which are they? Magazine and teenagers. There are adult students who do the exam, but obviously an adult doesn't want to read a question which says the teenagers below. Okay. If this is the PET for schools version, what do you think the equivalent question would be for adults? Uh-huh. Shall we see? Okay. Another important difference, what word do they use? They don't use read, they use? Looking for, yes. Looking for. Yes, buy. Yeah, exactly. Because how many 11-year-olds buy magazines? Okay, that's the reading part 2. We're going to have another look at a question in the writing. Both questions are the same. PET or PET for schools? Okay. Because obviously if you're 22 years old, you don't want to get involved in a homework project. Well, you might. For the adults? Remember, we've got 16, 17, 18-year-olds also doing the PET exam. So for my work, but actually, do you think your 11 to 14-year-olds could do this? Yes, they probably could. They probably could. But I think the difference here is, would you ask your 22-year-olds to do this one? Okay. The final example is from the listening. Pet or Pet for Schools? Okay. Think in your head, what would be the version for Pet for Schools?
You will hear a new teacher talking to some of your colleagues.
For Pet for Schools? For Pet for Schools?
Yes.
You will hear a teacher talking to some colleagues? Oh, to your classmates. Yeah. Ah, yes. Yes. These are examples. It doesn't mean that in every exam it works out like this, but just so that you can see the difference between the two. Okay? And I think that clearly illustrates the difference.